Today in downtown Denver, Colorado, shots were fired as militia and BLM and Antifa protesters were both present. The shots were fired reportedly on the militia side. One person has been taken to the hospital in an ambulance. The other people are reportedly, from the reports I'm getting, all the suspects have been arrested. SWAT has came in wearing riot gear, and now there's no confirmation to what actually happened. So if we get an update on that, I will be back to tell you. As usual, police surrounded right-wing protesters in riot gear with guns and pepper guns and everything else. Yet BLM and Antifa riders are allowed to go through our streets. They're allowed to destroy our cities and our forests and burn them to the ground. We've seen this in the western third of the United States especially. We've talked about that before on news breaks on our Yahoo channel. And this is happening in most places because police allow it, and the governors and the mayors refuse to do anything about it. They're telling the police to stand down, to let it happen. But yet, when something happens, then they come in to arrest the people on the right side, or what they call the right side, the right-wing people. With the attempted kidnapping of Governor Whitmer this week, and the kangaroo court that a militia had set up to try her for treason, which we do not condone. We have a legal system in this country, and it should be followed. People should be jailed for their crimes. Governor Whitmer has refused the order of the state Supreme Court, and for that she should have been arrested. She should have been put in a court of law, and she should have been tried like anybody else in this country according to the Constitution of the United States. This is the type of thing, though, that's going to happen. Because some of the more radical people on the side against what's going on, tearing up our cities and burning them down, are starting to fight back. I'm not condoning it. I'm just saying they're starting to fight back. But at a time, sooner or later, everybody's going to have to fight back, and that's my opinion. Media criticizes and calls people who protest against the fascist BLM and Antifa movement and the LGBTQ, they call them right-wing white supremacists and many other racial epithets, as I've said earlier. This situation is only going to continue to heat up and become more violent. Any one who protests against the violence that has ran rampant in our country over the last several months since May are called right-wing and white supremacists, while the left-wing media refuses to acknowledge a left-wing faction that is doing the destruction in our cities. This left-wing faction, as we have proven in our radio broadcasts, is a faction that is funded by none other than George Soros. Everybody kind of suspected that anyway. We've turned out Tom Steyer. He's also one of the supporters. There's an organization called Democracy Alliance Resistance Efforts. And these are, we thought 50 organizations. Now it's up to over 200 and still growing. It might be thousands time we get to the bottom of the investigation. But they refuse to call these people left-wing radicals or left-wing terrorists, and Antifa and KKK has been designated as terrorists. Okay, and that's good. Both sides need to. But we also got a radical wing of the BLM, and we'll get to that in a minute. Instead, they refer to them as peaceful protesters, even though they have, harmed citizens. They've destroyed billions of dollars of property. They have attacked people. They have killed people. They have killed police officers and destroyed countless private residences as well, causing thousands to lose their jobs along the way. Okay, their so-called peaceful protesters are often heavily armed with various weapons, firearms, clubs, chainsaw blades tied to rope that they can swing around and cut you with. They use chemical weapons. They use hot motor oil and squirt guns. They use things such as wall spray to spray you in the eyes. They use bear spray. They use things like CS gas. They use things like pepper balls. They use things like mace. And they also have been known to use water and sarin gas, a deadly poison mixed to throw on people who protest against their violent regime, their fascist regime. They've also used ammonia and chloride to make a chemical weapon as well. This has to be stopped. There is a great injustice going on in this country. There's a double-sided justice system. While BLM and Antifa militants are being released without any bail, others who defend themselves, their property, businesses, and the people, the innocent people, are arrested and charged and kept in jail. The McCloskeys of St. Louis, who defended their residents against a BLM mob that broke down the gates, they come out with their weapons and stood their ground. No shots were fired, but they stood their ground. In that situation, the state attorney general stepped in and said, no charges. These people did nothing wrong. A.G. Barr said these people done nothing wrong. President Trump said these people did nothing wrong. But that hasn't stopped the DA in St. Louis from filing another charge against them. And now one of the charges that they are charging them with is tampering with a firearm. Well, that's a very interesting thing, because if you remember, it was all over the news that the DA's office actually told the state police lab to make the gun that was unfireable fireable. The gun had been used in a court of law as evidence. The firing pin had been turned around so it could not fire as required by the law to bring it into a courtroom. It had never been set back in the other direction. And the DA ordered that firing pin be turned back around to where it was operable so they could try to prosecute the McCloskeys. Now they're blaming the McCloskeys for doing it. This is stupid, people. This is stupid, and I'm darn mad about it. We've got to stop this. We've got to stop it. And then yesterday, a man was arrested in Louisville, Kentucky. This man, on the 18th of September, was in his vehicle when a woman who was a felon and a BLM protester pulled a gun and pointed it at him in his car. He returned the favor by pointing his back at her. He was let go, and everything was fine. And then his lawyer got up, her lawyer got up, along with two other people that's claiming he endangered their lives. Well, if they hadn't been coming up to his car causing trouble, they wouldn't got their lives endangered. If they hadn't pulled a gun on him, he wouldn't have pulled his. Plain and simple. This man did nothing but defend himself. Now they're charging him with wanton endangerment. 3 counts. People need to start raising up and raising hell, people. You need to get a hold of these prosecutors in these different towns. You need to get a hold of your state representatives. You need to get a hold of your senators and your congressmen. You need to get a hold of the White House, and you need to flood A.G. Barr's office with complaints. This is ridiculous. Okay? Now, this gentleman will have to end up fighting for his life because some people pulled a gun on him and he defended himself. See the double standard? And if that's not good enough, their lawyer got up and gave out all of his personal information on television. That is what is called doxing, and that is illegal. The lawyer needs to have his license pulled. He needs to be put in jail for breaking the law. You know, these violent protesters is destroying our cities. They need to go to jail. They need to stay in jail. They need to rot in jail as far as I'm concerned. And while they're out here being given a free get out of jail card, anybody that defends themselves, defends their property, defends their family, defends their home, defends their business, or somebody else's life is getting thrown in the hoose cow. And for what? For exercising their constitutional Second Amendment. That's all they're doing. And it's also a natural law. This is a law that says everybody has a right to defend themselves. It's the law of nature. And it was around even before the Second Amendment. The Second Amendment only recognized it and legalized it according to the Constitution. Now, as far as firearms, the type of firearms you can have, people, you've given up your rights. You've let them legislate. You've let them tell you you can't have bump stocks, you can't have expanded magazines, you can't have this, you can't have that. By law, by the Constitution, the right to bear arms shall be unfringed. That means they can't limit you on the type of firearm you can have. They can't limit you on the type of stock it can have or the length of anything. They cannot limit you for anything concerning a firearm. Anything the government is allowed to have, the people are allowed to have. That's what the Second Amendment's about. Because it was set up. It was set up by the founders so that if we had a government that did what this one's doing right now and trying to take over with a fascist, Marxist, communist regime, that we could stand up against it. Now, I'm giving you a lot of commentary today, but I'm also giving you facts. So you can sort out the commentary of what I say away from the facts. And then you can make up your own decision. But this is a situation that needs a lot of attention. The politicians on both sides of the aisle need to stop playing politics and making it a political game. They need to start working together to stop the violence. There's ones on each side of this that's behind it. And if you've been watching our broadcast, you'll know that. If you've been listening to our broadcast, you will find out as you keep listening even more of who is involved on both sides of the aisle. Okay? These sanctimonious people who sit there and tell you that they're your leaders, they are not. They are your state and federal elected representatives, and they're supposed to be representing what the people want. The majority of the people, not just the people that's out there in the minority that's doing the destruction. But they got to get together. They got to put a stop to this violence. One of the things that bothers me is the violent BM and Antifa need to be removed from our streets. And the politicians on both sides of the aisle that are supporting them, they need to be removed from office. I don't care what side they're on. I don't care if they're Democrat, Republican. I don't care if they're independent or even if the Whig Party come back. They need to be removed from the aisle. They need to be removed from public office, never to serve again. Make no mistake, people. We're at war against terrorists in our homeland. And it's getting worse. And the other side, these militias are starting to get fed up. These fringe militias. Not all militias are bad, but there's some bad ones, and they're the first ones usually to get hot and get things going. So, and they're starting to do that. And the closer we get to election, the worse this is going to get, the more violent it's going to get, because the people are really fed up. These politicians need to act and get the violence out of our street. They need to act. They need to get these Antifa, BLM, and all these others that's with them out of our streets. Stop the rioting, stop the burning, stop the looting, stop the destruction, the attacks, and the murder. But they're not doing it, and people are starting to realize that they don't think they have any recourse left. And this is a problem. This is a problem, because more people are going to do just what we've seen. And if we don't get control of this, by November 3rd, we're liable to not have election, because it's liable to be a full-scale war. I don't want to see that, do you? But I will tell you this. If you come to our town, if you come to a town near us that we protect, we will be there. We're not there to cause a problem, but we're not going to let you burn it down. We're not going to let you kill the police officers. We're not going to let you kill other people or attack them. And we're not going to put up with it. So it's up to you. Politicians, what say you? Are you going to stop the political games? Are you going to get real and put an end to this? Put an end to the violence and the death and the destruction that you're causing? That's right, you're causing it. We've got a lot of your names on the investigation so far, and they will be coming out along with what you've done. Both Republican and Democrat, even independent if need be, if we come across them. And I'm sure we probably will. We're finding enough of the others. On top of that, the billionaires that's funding this, we've been exposing you. The organizations involved, we're exposing you. The colleges involved, we are exposing you. The financiers involved, the financial institutions worldwide, we will expose. We will also expose all the foreign actors that are involved. We're not playing. The truth is, it's about to come out. It's been coming out, and it's going to keep coming out until an end is put to this. The most powerful thing we have in this country is knowledge. And I've got some real crack investigators. And we're going to make sure that the public knows what is going on. We're done to playing games. We're not going to go out in the street and start killing people. We'll go out and protect people. But we're not going to go out to kill people. We're going to use the system that you've destroyed to destroy you for your dirty deeds. Now, I love this country. I took oath to this country. And I stand by my oath, and I will stand by my oath till I die. And many of our people took the same oath. And it says that we will defend our country against both domestic and foreign enemies. And we've got them all piled up in here on us together, people. If you'd like to be part of our organization, you can go to citizensagainstterrorism.org. You can look at our page. If you like what you see, you can either go to the top to the Facebook Rally Point. It'll take you to a page where you can hit join if it don't get took down. Or you can go to the bottom and use the Yahoo email account. That'll take a little longer to get you processed. But we're looking for people with level heads to help us go into the streets and protect the cities. We're going to do a lot of other things once this is over. We're going to be setting up charities where we have food and we have toiletries and hygiene products and paper goods to help people out. We'll help them with their utility bills. All that's coming. But right now, our focus has to be on saving our nation. Because if you don't, there will be nothing left. Please join us. Thank you, and God bless you. And God bless America. And until we meet again, good night.